युहन्तः प्रविश्य मम वाचमिमां प्रसुप्तां सञ्जीवयत्यखिलशक्तिधरस्वधाम्ना अन्यांश्च हस्तचरणश्रवणत्वगादीन् प्राणान् नमो भगवते पुरुषाय तुभ्यं यं गुरुं हि स्वयं सत्यः प्रज्ञा भक्तिविनीतयः दीप्तिश्चाविवृता नित्यं तं गुरुं प्रणमाम्यहम् सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। 27 बुद्ध्या सारथिना मनोरशनया संगृह्यमाणेन्द्रियस्तोमाश्वैरनुगृह्यमाणमधिरुह्यात्मा शरीरं रथम् शब्दादीन् विषयान्यतो नुभवति प्रज्ञानिनोमुं ततः भोक्तारं ब्रुवते हृदिन्द्रियशरीरोपाधिसंयोगतः विज्ञानं च समाहितं च हृदयं नो बुद्धिसूतस्य चेत् वश्याः स्यात् कथमिन्द्रियाश्वविदतिः यद्यस्ति वश्यातु सा विज्ञानेन समाहितेन मनसा युक्तस्तु यत्सारथिः स प्राप्नोति यासितं परपदं नान्यस्तु सारथिः विज्ञानी शुचिरात्मवांस्तु पुरुषः
संसारमार्गस्य तत् पारं विष्णुपदं प्रयाति न पुनः संसारमापद्यते विज्ञानेन समाहितेन मनसा रिक्तः पुनश्चाशुचिः
तद्विष्णोः परमं पदं न भजते संसार एव स्थितः स्थूलादिन्द्रियसञ्चयात् खलु परः सूक्ष्मोऽर्थसङ्घो मनस्तस्माच्चापि परं ततोऽपि धिषणा तस्याः परो वै महान् अव्यक्तं
महतः परं पुरुषो व्यक्तात् परस्तत्परं नो किञ्चित् स परागतिः स च पराकाष्ठा हि सर्वान्तरः.
So we saw the Vyakhyana of verse 30 in the previous class. Now the next verse 31 again is a summary of two more mantras. The mantras in the Upanishad are 12 and 13 of third Vali. The mantras go like this: Yesha sarveshu bhuteshu gudhottmana prakashate drishyate tvagriyaya buddhya sukshmaya sukshmadadishibhi yacchedvang manasi prajñah tadyachet jnana atmani jnanamatmani mahati niyachet tadyachet chanta atmani. So now we will read the verse. Gudhotma bhuvaneshvayam na sakalaihi गूढोत्मा भुवनेष्वयं न सकलैः गूढोत्मा भुवनेष्वयं न सकलैः ज्ञेयो वृतो मायया ज्ञेयो वृतो मायया ज्ञेयो वृतो मायया बुद्ध्याः सूक्ष्मिकया ग्र्यया पुनरयम् बुद्ध्याः सूक्ष्मिकया ग्र्यया पुनरयम् बुद्ध्याः सूक्ष्मिकया ग्र्यया पुनरयम् सूक्ष्मे क्षणैर्दृश्यते सूक्ष्मे क्षणैर्दृश्यते सूक्ष्मे क्षणैर्दृश्यते विद्वान् हृद्युपसंहरेत् गिरमिदम् विद्वान् हृद्युपसंहरेत् गिरमिदम् विद्वान् हृद्युपसंहरेत् गिरमिदम् चित्तं च बुद्धो महत्येनाहं च अमहत्येनाहं तं च चित्तं च बुद्धो महत्येनाहं तं च चित्तं च बुद्धो महत्येनाहं तं च. Here it should be buddhau महत्येनाहं तं च महान्तमान्तरतमे 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 शान्ते प्रतीच्यात्मनि शान्ते प्रतीच्यात्मनि शान्ते प्रतीच्यात्मनि. In the verse there are two corrections. One in the first quarter, sakalaihi nyeyo vrto, should be nyeyo vrto. And in the third line, third quarter, chittancha buddhau mahati, should be saptami. These are two corrections in the verse. Okay. गूढोत्मा भुवनेष्वयं न सकलैः ज्ञेयः. The previous verse, so we ended with Purusha. Sa kashtha sa paragatihi. This is where we ended. Now this Atman he is describing. Gudhaha Atma. Gudhaha Atma. Gudhaha means someone who is not easily evident. Okay. So Gudhaha, somewhat deep. Gudhaha Atma. Normally, if you ask someone who has studied the Sandhi Prakarana in Kaumadi, so Gudhaha Atma, what will it be? Visarga Lopa will happen. Then you will have Gudha Atma. That is all the Rupa will be. After that, how does it become Gudhotma? So since the mantra in the Upanishad reads as Gudhotma, so Gudhotma is the reading that we find there, and therefore he uses the same phrase. See, what is the mantra? Yesha sarveshu bhuteshu Gudhotma na prakashate. So there are certain words which are used as it is, whose rules cannot be explained. So those are sort of listed. So Prashodaraditvat is the phrase that people use. Here in fact, Ramaraya in his commentary, if you look at, he explains that. So I will come back to that in a minute. So let us quickly read the meaning of these verses as such. Gudhotma bhuvaneshvayam na sakalaihi jneyaha. So sakalaihi means by all people. So this Atman cannot be understood by all people. Na sakalaihi jñeyaha. So anybody cannot understand this Atman. And he further says, Avrito Mayaya. So it is shielded by a veil of ignorance. Mayaya Avritaha. But then he also says, Buddhya Sukshmikaya Agriyaya Punaha Ayam. Punaha means here, but however, he can be understood. Okay? Sukshmikaya Agriyaya Punaha. So Agriya means that which is very sharp, okay, which can focus. Agriyaya Sukshmikaya Buddhya Punaha Ayam. This person, this Atman can be understood. And that too, he further says, Sukshme Kshanir Drishyate. If you merely have a sharp intellect, that does not help. You have to train that intellect to think in this discipline. Therefore, he further says, Sukshme Kshanir Drishyate. Sometimes you may have to tell students. Merely being intelligent does not help. So diligence is also required. Right? So you have to focus. Sukshme Kshikair Drishyate. We'll see the meanings in greater detail later. So the first half of the verse summarizes the content of mantra 12. Mantra 12, Yesha sarveshu bhuteshu gudhottama na prakashate drishyate tvagriya buddhya sukshmaya sukshmadarshibhihi. So he has sort of paraphrased that. Then in the next mantra, so then how is it that we will be? So the sukshmadarshibhihi. So what is the method by which the sukshma darshana can be obtained? So sukshma darshibhihi can be understood means we need sukshma darshana. That is the tool. So how do I gain that tool? So there he is prescribing a certain procedure. Vidvan hridyupasam haret giramidam. Giramidam upasamharet. This is the first step. Very difficult. What is giram upasamharet? Keep your mouth shut. Very difficult. Vidvan hridyupasamharet. And he says, mouth has to be somehow upasamharet kutra. Go and submerge this mouth into hridayam. Hridyupasamharet. So why? It is because this, after all, it is Vagindriya. Right? Vagindriya Vyapara can happen only when there is some intent to speak. That intent has to be arrested. Okay? That intent at that level one has to handle. What is that? We have that was. So there is this, see this basically the speech essentially starts from buddhi. So then Atma buddhya sametyarthan manoyung te vivakshaya manah kayagnimahanti saprerayati marutam. This is a nice way of explaining what is happening. Buddhya sametya arthan. Atma buddhya sametya arthan manoyungte vivakshaya. Vivakshaya. There is a certain temptation to say something. Manoyungte vivakshaya. And then what does the manaha do? Manah kayagnimahanti. So that actually creates a certain vibration inside. Okay, so this is described as kaya agnim ahanti. Okay, so there is a certain energy which is excited there. Manah kayagrimahanti saprerayati marutam. So that drives the air channel. So that air comes and hits the some regions in the mouth, etc., etc. Then Shabda comes. So therefore he is saying Vidwan Hridyupasam Haret. So you first stop there itself. So the temptation to speak more, so it should be arrested. Okay. So sometimes, so when we sit as chair in some of the meeting, we have to exercise our power, because there will be some people who want to just jump in at the drop of hat on every occasion. So then sometimes we may have to be very firm and then say no. So there are various methodologies which you have to invent to say no, so that this person does not get hurt also. That is another thing that we have to handle. Vidwan Hridyupasam Haret Giramidam Chittancha Buddhau Mahati. So there is a certain process which was described in the previous verse. Indriyebhyah parahyartharthebhyascha param manaha manasastu para buddhihi buddheratma mahan paraha mahatah param avyaktam avyaktat purushah paraha. So he is just reversing that order. See? So whatever we studied earlier, so he was just saying Chittancha buddhau mahati yenam pancha mahantam Antaratame Shante Pratichyatmani. Ultimately, you go to this Atman. Okay. Shante Pratichi Atmani. See, this Pratichi I was telling you in the last class. So this is Saptam Ekavachana. Pratyak Shabdasya. Pratyanch. So that Shabda. So Saptam Ekavachana will be Pratichi. So Pratichi Atmani, and its nature is described as Shante Pratichi Atmani. Atmanaha Shanta Swarupa. In fact, I'll tell you, I'm just reminded of this interesting phrase. Others can also use. This very nature of Atman is Shanta Swarupa. Even if you lose temper at some point, so you anyway go to the Shanta Swarupa. Sometimes my father gets angry. So my niece, when she was very young, much younger, so she may make something, then sometimes my father may get excited and then say something. Then we used to tell her, when she was very young, Shanta Samanam Aidu. Shamanam of Shanta Swarupa is happened means, you are in an excited state. So whenever my father gets a little angry, that little girl will say, Shanta Shamanam Aidu Tatak. See, Shantasya Shamanam. See, Agnehe Shamanam very. So, Shanta Shamanam. So, we say that. So, the Shanta Swarupa, okay? Yenam tam cha mahantam antaratame Shante Pratichya-atmani. Okay. Now, let us read the commentary so that we understand the verse better. Nanu yadyayamatma swabuddhavev sthitah kimiti tarihi sarvaihi na jnayate ataha gudhottama iti. Why is it that this Atman, the nature of self is not becoming very clear? For that he is saying gudhottama. Then he says, Ayam Purushaha Bhuvaneshu. Here, see, some of the words have been made bold, some are left out. So ayam, bhuvaneshu, these are all words found in the verse itself. They should be bold. Ayam means Purusha. Ayam here refers to, so that entity which was referred in the previous verse. Ayam Purusha bhuvaneshu. All the words, which means bhuteshu. Okay. So bhuvana sometimes can be understood as a tangible object. So what happens to the interstice between? So we have Prithvi, so we have Chandra. So this may be described as bhuvana. But other things in between, so sometimes it can be understood. Therefore he is sarva bhuteshu, all that space in between. Gudhottama. Then Gudhaha Atma Gudhottama. So this he is trying to explain now. How does he explain? By having a very short phrase. Varna vikriteriti vachanat sadhuhu. Varna vikriteriti vachanat sadhuhu. Varna vikritehe. Vachanat means something which comes in tradition. Right? There is a certain vachana which has been transmitted from generation to generation. So what is that vachana? So there is a vachana which I will now quote, okay, which you will repeat. Varnagamo varna viparyayascha. Varnagamo varna viparyayascha. Varnagamo varna viparyayascha. Dvaucha parau varna vikaranashau. Dvaucha parau varna vikaranashau. Dvaucha parau varna vikaranashau. Dhatosthadarthatishayena yogaha. Dhatosthadarthatishayena yogaha. Dhatosthadarthatishayena yogaha. Taduchyate panchavidham niruktam. Taduchyate panchavidham niruktam. Taduchyate panchavidham niruktam. Panchavidham. Taduchyate panchavidham niruktam. Again. Varnagamo varna viparyayascha. Varnagamo varna viparyayascha. Varnagamo varna viparyayascha. Dvaucha parau varna vikaranashau. Dvaucha parau varna vikaranashau. Dvaucha parau varna vikaranashau. Dhatosthadarthatishayena yogaha. Dhatosthadarthatishayena yogaha.
Dhatosthadarthatishayena yogaha.
Taduchyate panchavidham niruktam.
Taduchyate panchavidham niruktam. Taduchyate panchavidham niruktam.
So there are 5 modes, or rather you can group the kinds of words which cannot be grammatically explained into 5 types. So that is what is listed here. One is Varnagamaha. Varnagamaha means sometimes you may find a word where a certain letter has got inserted into, as it were, which cannot be explained by the rules of the Panini. Okay. So we have to simply explain by saying there is a Varnagama, this is how it is in Loka. So this is one variety. Varnagamaha. Then Varna Viparyayaha. Viparyaha should be understood as interchange. Okay. So through interchange, so this is all basically, this niruktam is in trying to explain the etymological derivation of the word. They sometimes employ these kinds of things. So varna viparyaha. Then there are two more. Dvaucha paro. What are the other two? Varna vikaranasho. Varna vikaraha means a transformation of one of the letters into another letter. See, one is something which comes into, the other is swapping this, the third is, so varna vikaraha, change in the varna, and the fourth is drop in. Okay, varna vikaranasho. Then the fifth one he says, dhatos tadarthatishe nayogaha. So sometimes dhatoho, so from a certain dhatu, in order to try explaining the derivation of a noun, so tadartha atishayena means through some sort of atishaya which is there, you may simply add a little more also. Okay, so that is another possibility. Taduchyate panchavidham. So the standard example, in fact, this was got only by consulting some Vyakarana. I didn't know that. So there is an interesting verse which itself lists Gudhotma. That is why it is so familiar, those who study in tradition. So there is a verse like this. You repeat this verse. Bhaved varnagamat himsa. Example, that is also in the form of a verse. Bhaved varnagamat himsa. Bhaved varnagamat himsa. Simho varna viparyayat. Varna viparyayat. Simho varna viparyayat. Gudhotma varna vikrite. Gudhotma varna vikrite. Gudhotma varna vikrite. Gudhotma varna vikrite. Varnanashat prushodaram. Varnanashat prushodaram. Varnanashat prushodaram. Prushodaram. Okay. Varnanashat prushodaram. Okay, let us very quickly understand this. So he says, see, Bhaved varnagamat himsa. So this anuswara is not there in the dhatu, so it has come varnagamat. Then simha shabda, they try to explain that the sakara and hakara, they got swapped. So that which does himsa has become simha. Okay, so this is what is viparyayat. So simho varna viparyayat. Then comes this gudhottama, this word which appears in this mantra. Gudhottama varna vikrite. What is the vikara that we expect here? So this wo has come. When will it come? When a becomes hu. Gangavodakam, gangodakam, something like that, right? So when a becomes, so varna vikrite he, only this is possible. So therefore that is how we have to understand, because it has been used in the mantra. Gudhotma varna vikrite. Then varnanashat prushodaram. Prushodaram. So prishat udaram. Prishat. So prishat actually means, so a certain kind of a mark that we find. Okay. So udare. So in some animals you will see in a certain belt, so you will see certain kind of marks. So prishat udare yasya. So that what is that species exactly referring to? I don't know. So this is what is explained. So prishodaram. So there what has happened? Prishat. So that has got dropped. Nashaha. Okay. Therefore prishodaram. That is how you get. So these are the examples that are provided to explain. Now this gudhottama is varna vikritehe. So that is what Ramaraya actually means when he says varna vikrite riti vachanat sadhuhu. So this is how you can understand the formation of the word Gudhottama. See, it should be Gudha Atma, in which case Gudhatma, something, at most, but that also should not happen. Okay? Because Visarga Lopa, once it happens after Santi, you don't have. So Gudha Atma should be the form, but we find it as Gudhottama. So that is explained like this. So he says, Gudha Atma, Gudhottama Varna Vikrite Vajanat Sadhuhu Gudhaha. Gudhaha means Samvritaha. That is what the meaning is. Samvritaha Atma. Samvritaha means covered. Kena. Mājaya vritaha atayeva yam sakalaihi najñeyaha. Sakalaihi najñeyaha. So there is a general problem with all people. So only some special people will be able to transcend this. Therefore, sakalaihi ayam najñeyaha. This is by default. Then he quotes this Naham Prakashas Sarvasya. Oh, there also there is a quotation mark wrong. So it should start with Naham itself. You should take the quotation beginning. Naham Prakashas Sarvasya Yogamaya Samavritaha iti Gita Vachanat. So this is in the 7th chapter. Iti Gita Vachanat. Then he says, Tarihi evam sarvaihi abhijitaha purushaha shashavishana prayaha evetyataha sukshme kshanaihi. Shashavishana prayaha. Shashavishana prayaha means, so is it like hair's horn? Naham prakasha sarvasya yogamaya samavritaha. Suppose it is said, no one can see. Sarvasya. So that is how the statement literally means. So in which case, of course, hair's horn no one can see. Right? So similarly, should we understand this Atman or do we understand it differently? Tarihi evam sarvaihi avijitaha purushaha shashavishana prayaha. Oh. There also, shashavishana praya should be one word. There cannot be a gap. Shashavishana prayaha. Just like Shashavishana. Okay? Almost like. It should be a samasta pada. Shashavishana prayevetyata aha sukshme kshanaihi. Sukshme kshanaihi means sukshma dirghihi. Those who have the ability to see deeper into things. Those who have trained themselves to have sukshma drishti. Sukshme kshanaihi sukshma drigbhihi punaha ayam atma. Sukshmikaya sukshmaya agriyaya avahitatamaya. So avahitatamaya means tama is a superlative. Avadhanam is ability to concentrate. Okay, ability to focus on one's mind. Focus and also dharanam, both. See, first is grahanam, dharanam. Both happen through avadhana. Okay. So in avadhana, where they display, okay, so whatever be the number of bells that you you keep doing, they should keep track of that. Okay. And you should keep composing whatever you are doing. So, and you should keep that also for a long time. This is what is avadhana. Both should be there. Agriya avahitatamaya ekagraya buddhya drishyate nyayate. This ekagra buddhi means, another aspect to that is not merely avadhanam, grahanam and vijnanam and so on. But your focus should be only that. In between something else comes. So I will move. That will not work. So you may have for a short while. But for achieving certain things, you may have to have prolonged effort. Okay? So then only that is possible. Therefore, ekagraya. The ekagra does not mean all the time you keep focusing. But The overall purpose is fixed. So any other thing cannot move me from my path. That is what one has to understand by that. Ekagraya buddhya drishyate jnayate. So this is the first half of the verse. Okay. Yesha sarveshu bhuteshu gudhotma na prakashate drishyate tvagriya buddhya sukshmaya sukshmadarshibhihi. Then, how is it that I achieve this? Tameva jnana prakaram darshayati. Tameva jnana prakaram darshayati. He explains how is this possible. So here, before I get into this later part, so I will take you through this Shankara Bhashya, which is very interesting in this mantra. So Shankara, in his commentary, he starts with this phrase, Yasmat bhuyo na jayate. It was there a few mantras before. Vijnana saratil yastu manah pragrahavan. Before that, Yasmat bhuyo na yachedvang manasi prajnyaha. Yastu vijnanavan bhavati. Samanaskas sada shuchihi satutad bhatamapnoti yasmat bhuyo na jayate. This was stated, right? Now here he is saying, this question is, nanu gatischet agatyapi bhavitavyam. So sakashtha saparagatihi. It was stated, right? The previous mantra ended by saying Sakashtha Saparagatihi. So that is the Samapti. Samapti means, see, so suppose you set to Yatra. So you set to Yatra. So you go to some Tirtha Kshetra. And then after Darshana etc. is all over, then Yatra Samapta. Right? So similarly, Samapti. So Sakashtha is that end point. Sa paragatihi. This is what was stated. So ultimately you have to reach there. Now the question that is being posed by him is Gatischet agatyapi bhavitavyam. Can you think of any gati without agati? So this is not possible. Right? In fact, gati itself is Uttaradesha Sanyoga, right? Gati means Purvadesha Viyoga Sahakrita Uttaradesha Sanyoganukulo Vyaparaha. This is how you generally define Gati. Now, Gatishchet means you have reached some point, means you have to just return back, where whatever be the Gati. So here, that's why we have this. No? Sanyoga Viprayogantaha Maranantancha Jeevitam. There is a verse in Ramayana. Sanyogaha Viprayogantaha. Whatever be the Sanyoga. So, Viprayogantaha, you have to return back. So similarly, here we speak of Gati. Then he is asking in general, Gatisched Agatyapi bhavitavyam. You go to office, you have to return. So this can be extended to various places. Our visit to earth, you can go elsewhere, come back. Gatisched agatyapi bhavitavyam. Katham yasmad bhuyo na jayate. How is it stated? Iti. Therefore he is saying, Naisha doshaha. So he is essentially saying, oh my dear, by Gati you don't understand. He is stepping into some other place. Okay? So that is not the meaning you have to take. He says, Sarvasya pratyagatmatvat avagatireva gatirityupacharyate. So Gati means avagati. So this is how you have to understand. So with only if you talk of real Gati, so then this objection, agatyapi bhavitavyam, is valid. But here we don't actually mean that. We mean avagati. Uti upacharyate. Now he says, Pratyagatmatvancha darishitam indriya mano buddhi paratvena. Indriya mano buddhi paratvena pratyagatmatvancha darishitam. So this is what we saw in the previous two mantras. Yohi ganta swayam apradyagrupam purusham gacchati anatmabhutam na vindati swarupena tatha cha shrutihi anadbhaga adhasu parayishnavaha. So I will not get into the details of this. So this word, the parayishnavaha, is a very interesting word. So parayishnavaha, how do you get it? This is like Sahishnu. You have heard the word Sahishnu? So Sodhum, Ichuhu, no, it is not Ichu. So this is actually a suffix. This is not that Sannanta Pratyaya. Okay? Ichha. So in fact, Icharthe, Tachilyam. So if there is Tachilyam, so then you use this word, Ichuchu. Okay? So that is what is said. Parayishnuhu. Okay? It is like Sahishnuhu. So what do you understand through that? Parayitum Sheelam Yasya. Sodhum Sheelam Yasya Mari. Parayitum Sheelam Yasya. What does it actually mean? So it means that his intent is that Sheelam is a certain style of living, a choice that you make. Okay? So that is what he means. This quotation, we don't know from where it is stated. Anyway, so he further says, there is an interesting thing, you can just leave one or two sentences here. So he further says, Yeshaha Purushaha Sarveshu Brahmadistamba Parjanteshu Bhuteshu Gudhaha Sambritaha Darshana Shravanadi Karma avidyamaya atayeva atmana prakashate. Esha sarveshu bhuteshu gudhaha atma na prakashate. Okay. So here he says na prakashate. Atmatvena kasyachit. This is a very interesting statement. This is where we need to understand very clearly. Yeshaha na prakashate. Katham na prakashate? Atmatvena na prakashate. What does it mean? It means Yeshaha is someone, some entity rather, which is described as Satyam Jnanam Anantam Anando Brahma. Tat Atmatvena na prakashate. Atmatvena na prakashate means Ayamatma Sachidananda Rupaha Ityanubhavaha na bhavati. Okay, that is where he is trying to convey here. Yesha Purushaha, you describe some entity with certain characteristics. But those characteristics are not found in me. Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shivoham. How? It is not there for me in Anubhava. That is what he means by saying the Atma. The word Atma, Apluvyaptavu. Okay? So, Apluvyaptavu. So, Ayamatma Yachapnoti Yadadatte Yachatti Vishayaniha Yachasya Santato Bhavaha Tasmad Atmeti Kirtyate. So this is a beautiful karika which describes Atma. See, Yachapnoti Yadadatte Yachatti Vishayaniha Yachasya Santato Bhavaha. Santato Bhavaha. In fact, Paramacharya sometimes quotes this, and then Santato Bhavaha means So the one who is there everywhere. So santato bhava. See, atmaivedam sarvam. So this bhavana, how is it possible? Once you conceive him to be sharirāvachinna, this santato bhava is gone. So that is what he is trying to convey here, that this Atman which is described, Purusha which is described as everywhere present, that I am not able to see, that I am not different from that entity. Okay, so that is what he means by saying Brahmadistamba Parayanteshu Sarveshu Gudha. In the form of Chaitanyam, I am not able to see myself that way. So then he says, Aho Ati Gambhira Duravagahya Vichitra Cheyam Maya. Why is all this phrase used? It is a very interesting phrase used by Bhagavad Pada. Aho Ati Gambhira Duravagahya Vichitra Cheyam Maya Yadayam Sarvo Jantuhu Paramarthataha Paramartha Satatvo Evam Bodhyamanopi Aham Paramatmeti Nagrinhati. So in spite of all the literature repeatedly saying, your nature, your true nature is only that. In spite of repeatedly saying this does not get into the mind. In fact, I was just saying this Tyagaraja Kriti, the last 2-3 songs, Tyagaraja. You know that Kriti? There is so in fact, she was quoting this Gayatri. So that Kriti, he is just saying, so whether it is Hari, Hara, whether it is this Panchabhuta, so everything is this Atma. This is the Bhavana that he is supposed to have exclaimed towards the end, before just his Samadhi. So here he is saying, I will read this once more. Yeshaha Purushaha Sarveshu Brahmadistamba Paryanteshu Bhuteshu Gudhaha Samvritaha Darshana Shravanadi Karma Avidya Maya Channaha. Channaha means covered by that. Okay? Ata eva Atma na prakashate Atmatvena kasyajit. Then he exclaims, Aho Ati Gambhira, it is so deep, Gambhira. Duravagahya means something which is beyond my comprehension. Okay? Duravagahya. Why is it that in spite of repeatedly saying I am not able to recognize this? Duravagahya Vichitra Cheyam Maya. Okay? So which manifests itself in various forms. Vichitra Cheyam Maya. Yadayam Sarvo Jantuhu Paramarthataha Paramartha Satatvopi. Say Satatvaha means Swarupaha. That is what you have to understand. Okay. Satatvopi Evam Bodhyamanaha. Bodhyamanaha means repeatedly said by scriptures that this is what you are. Bodhyamanopi aham paramatmeti nagrinhati. He somehow does not accept this. Aham paramatmeti nagrinhati. See, that you are different from this, etc. Evident to me when I analyze. But nagrinhati. Anatmanam Dehendriyadi Sanghatam Atmano Drishyamanamapi Ghatadivat. Ghatadivat Atmatvena Aham Manushyaha Mushyaputraha Iti Anuchyamanopi Grinhati. This is what is interesting. So, Anuchyamanaha Api Grinhati. So, did anybody teach you that this is your body? So you will ask, why are you touching me? Who taught you? That is what he is saying. Anuchyamanaha means. So even though nobody needs to teach you something, so certain things you just create for yourself. Okay? So you sometimes create various kinds of complexes. Nobody has to tell you, but you yourself create complexes. I am short, I am unfair. So there are various things. Okay? So, so these are things which you superimpose. That is why he is saying, this is a very interesting usage here. Aho atigambhira durvagahya vichitra cheyam maya yadayam sarvo jantuhu paramarthataha paramartha satattopi evam bodhyamanopi aham paramatmeti nagrinhati. I am that Chaitanya Swarupa. This Sharira is something which is given to me. So this can be taken anytime. So I have to just accept this for a short while. This kind of a bhavana should be there. That is what he is saying. Nagrinhati. But anatmanam dehendriyadi sanghatam atmanaha drisyamanam. Why? So this is our own experience itself forms the evidence for us to get this logic. See, drishyamanam means, so it is something which is seen by you. The growth of the Sharira is seen by you. The decay of the Sharira is seen by you. That there is a continuous change is seen by you. So that is why he is saying, Dehendriyadi sanghatam, manas sanghatam, atmano drishyamanamapi. You see changes in your sentiments also. So this is all because that is happening, something is happening, but I am the witness to all this. So this is what he is trying to say. Drishyamanamapi. Katham drishyamanam? Ghatadivat. Pratyakshato drishyaman. Drishyaman ghatadivat atmatvena. You just superimpose upon yourself. Atmatvena aham amushya putraha. So this is how I am, so and so, etc. Iti anuchyamano grinhati nanu. Then over. Nunam parasiva maya momuhyamanaha sarva lokoyam bambramiti. Nunam. Then he says, so there is some sort of a force, okay? Maya momuhyamanaha sarvo lokaha ayam bambramiti. Bambramiti means it is just revolving, okay? Bambramiti. Tatha cha smaranam naham prakasha sarvasya yogamaya samavritaha ityadi. Now Bhagavad Pada says, Nanu viruddhamidam uchyate. So he is asking this question. Viruddham uchyate means there is some contradiction which I see here. What is the contradiction? Among the mantras. Viruddhamidam uchyate. Matvadhiro na shochati na prakashate iti cha. Understand? So matvadhiro na shochati. It was stated or not? Okay. So harsha shokau jahati. It was stated or not? Now you say, so the punch word here is matva. Matva means having understood. Having understood the true nature of Atman, I am na shochati. Okay. And then you say na prakashate. Na prakashate means not becomes evident. So both are stated by you. How do they go together? So therefore he says, Naita Devam. Both are correct. See, na prakashate is also correct. Matva is also correct. So conditions apply, that's all. So that is what he is trying to say. Matva hero na sochati na prakashate iti cha naida devam. He says, asamskrita buddhehe avijñeyatvad na prakashate ityuktam. Asamskrita buddhehe avijñeyatvad na prakashate ityuktam. Sometimes we say, when we try to formulate the syllabus or even teach, suppose somebody says this also. In fact, recently I have been looking into, so what should be the curriculum, etc. There are some people who will say, so this can be brought down to standard 8, this can be brought down to standard 6. Okay. So what is the taught in BSc can be brought down into standard 11 below. So this can be brought to standard 10. So this curriculum framework when you do that. So this asamkrita buddhi, this fellow. So in fact, what I studied in BSc, they want to bring it to 11th standard. So you are tempted to bring down. But asamskrita buddhi, even this is a bit problem for them. So samskrita buddhi means a mind which is trained to receive that. So you should not force things, right? So you should just design things which can be understood, appreciated by people of normal intelligence. So some exceptional that cannot be forced into this. So because this, if he learns early, I mean he will get gold medal in Olympiad. You cannot design curriculum like that. This asamskrita buddhi means, so this Atmopadesha, Vedāntamuktāvalī Upadesha is all done. It doesn't get into my mind. You have to prepare. You will not get. This is what he is saying. Asamskrita buddhehe avijñeyatvat. If you have not disciplined your mind to receive and understand this knowledge and digest for yourself, it will not be evident. So we have to prepare ourselves. Asamskrita buddhehe avijñeyatvat na prakashate ityuktam. Drishyate tu samskritaya. Samskritaya means refined. Okay. So you have to prepare the buddhi for receiving this knowledge. Samskritaya agriya. Hey, there is a poet who says, so by polishing you will get now. The glitter will come by polishing. So you take a mritpinda and keep polishing. What will come? Nothing will come, right? So you have to take a particular stone and then you keep polishing. Some diamond, if you polish, I mean something will glitter. See? So diamond is also earth. Mritpinda is also a lump of clay is also earth. Both are earth. So you keep polishing. What will you get? So it has to be agriya buddhi. Understand? So there are two aspects to that. Samskrita buddhi, agriya ja buddhi. Samskritaya agriya, agriyamiva agriya. That is how we have the phrase sharp intellect now. Taya ekagrataya and ekagrataya upetaya. See, that is this aspect. That focus also has to be there. Sukshmaya sukshmavastu nirupana paraya. The sukshmaya means sukshmavastu nirupana paraya. That which is able to assimilate that finer aspects. Kaihi sukshmadarshibhihi. Sukshmadarshi here means indriyebhyah parahyarthaha ityadi prakarena. So whatever was stated in the previous mantra, sukshmata paramparya darshanena. So there was a sequence which was described earlier. सूक्ष्मं द्रष्टुं शीलं येषां ते सूक्ष्मदर्शिनः तैः सूक्ष्मदर्शिभिः पंडितैः इत्येतत्. So this is the commentary of this mantra. Okay. I think the rest of the verse, I think we will do in the next class. Okay. The later half of the commentary which pertains to the next mantra. So here Bhagavad Pada, in a nice flow, he has said a few sentences. So I thought I will just share that with you. Okay, we'll stop here. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahavirjam Karavavahi Tejasvinavadhitamastu Mavidvishavahi. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sarve Pasukhinas Santu Sarve Santu Niramayaha Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaśyid Dukha Bhag Bhavet. Om